All right. Well, I think this is episode 24 of Master of None. I will be doing this solo. I've been setting out to do this for a very long time. Um, First off, huge apology to Zura. We did an amazing podcast episode. It was 2 hours, maybe 3 hours long, and with 2 minutes to go, 2 minutes, it ran out. My computer ran out of space, and the file was corrupted, so I couldn't actually upload it. The podcast was lost. It's so sad. We had such a good conversation. So huge shout out to Zura for doing it, and we will have redemption at some point. Another thing, happy birthday to Olu. His birthday was yesterday. I think he turned 33. So shout out to him, of course. And now I'm going to get down into it. So kind of the topics I want to go through are kind of the backbone is chess, kind of like what's been going on for a long time. Like I have a lot of stuff to go over, and how I'm getting better and what I'm learning and all this stuff. Then stand-up. Stand-up has been going pretty good the last couple of weeks, kind of what I've learned from there. Then boxing, Jiu Jitsu, and then just kind of business and marketing overall. And then some little things at the end, and definitely some sports. But first off, rest in peace, Takeoff. Very sad news. I was a huge Migos fan. I love the Migos, and that is how I'm going to start this episode, and also how I'm gonna title this episode. But I'm sure you'll see that when you get there. So, why I love the Migos? The first reason, or the biggest reason I love the Migos was their camaraderie. That was the first time like I ever saw like three brothers, not like brothers like literally, but just like the camaraderie of those three guys, Offset, Takeoff, and Quavo. I could tell that they would always fight for each other. They would ride or die for each other, and I saw that, and this is why I gravitated towards the Migos. Obviously, I really like their music too, like a bunch of their songs, and that's kind of the next thing I want to go through is my favorite Migos songs. And this is not in any specific order, like this is my number one favorite, but I do think at the end, it definitely, you'll see the best ones. So, first one, Malibu, that was from their most recent album. I think that was a great song, great hook. I remember I was in the car playing this song, and my friend Rick was like, dude, I'm really feeling this song. Malibu is great. Highway 85, I love Highway 85 because, dude, I know Highway 85. Like, I drive those roads. Another huge reason why I love Migos is because they're Atlanta. Like, they talk, like, there's a verse that Quavo does in this one song, and he's like, drop her off at Atlantic Station. And I'm like, dude, I know Atlantic Station. I've been there a million times. So they actually, like, in their lyrics, when they're talking about stuff in Atlanta, I love that I actually recognized a bunch of it. I thought that was super cool. Highway 85 is kind of all of that. Story about Highway 85 is at some point they say bong, and it's like not like the smoking bong, but like a pack. Like my friend Clay like gave me a breakdown of what that actually was, so I learned that. Next song, New Atlanta. New Atlanta is a great song, and I was just talking about before about how I like that Migos talk about Atlanta. New Atlanta, you hear about everything. I remember I used to watch the music video. I would actually watch them. They were playing basketball. They were shooting dice. They were in the studio. I mean, these guys smoked weed all the time. I actually knew a friend of mine who I used to box with, and I guess I still box with, but he's like a up and coming rapper, and he said that he smoked with Migos, and he said that they would smoke an ounce a day, which is pretty crazy. An ounce a day is a lot, even between three people. That's like 7 grams, or no, that's like what 9 grams per person. That's a lot of weed. So love that song. Whenever people are in Atlanta, first time in Atlanta or something, I would love to play that song because it talks about all these different things in Atlanta, why we love Atlanta. Has a bunch of it's not just a Migos song. Young Thug is on it. There's some other guys on it too, but another great song, Notice Me. The best Notice Me is with Post Malone. I like this song a lot. It's got a very slow kind of like what's the like romantic feel to it. What I really want to say about Notice Me is this is like one of the best songs to have sex to. The rhythm, the beat is great. It's slow. It's like seductive almost. So I love this song. Gang Gang. Gang Gang is another song that I love. This is off, I think, Culture 2. Honestly, this song like makes me cry. Like this song is so different from all their other songs. It's almost like melodic and slow and like beautiful. And like you can tell by the way then Takeoff starts the song. I don't even think Offset is in this song, but I think this is before they had any beef or anything. But Gang Gang is so different. I know like a lot of girls don't like Migos, and I understand because it's like I think listening to rap to guys can be like listening to a feminist for girls. It's like they're saying a lot of things that guys like, but I'm sure girls aren't a big fan of. But Gang Gang is a song that I think everyone can love. It's such a beautiful song. Next song, Walk It Like I Talk It. Great song. This is just one of their huge hits. Drake is on this. Drake murders the verse. I don't know how much I can say of the lyrics, but first night. Okay, I'm not even gonna say it because it might compromise some of the audience. But walk it like I talk it. Drake murders the verse. I love this. Everyone murders their verse. Every Offset has a great verse. Everyone has a great verse on the song. One of their huge hits. Narcos, I love a lot because I watched the show Narcos, so it was very cool having them talk about Medellin, and all that stuff. And I love Migos. I love Narcos. I think there's an episode where Quavo is actually on the show. Also, huge shout out to Migos because they actually get into acting. In the show Atlanta, Quavo, Offset, Takeoff, they're all in there. In Narcos, I don't know if Offset and Takeoff are there, but Quavo is definitely in that. So huge shout out to them. Love the song Narcos, great verses. What It Do is another song by Migos, obviously, and it is one of the best drinking games songs because they say What It Do at least 150 times. So basically, you take a sip every time they say What It Do. Timed that perfectly. CC was one of my favorite songs off of Culture 2. Quavo specifically, and I think Takeoff too, murdered their verse. They had great verses. Once again, I can't say any of these lyrics, but I love them. Next, Stir Fry. Stir Fry is a great song. I think Stir Fry is one of those songs where everyone can listen to. It's kind of like Gang Gang, but it's like pop rap. It's not like the hard rap. It's very like, maybe PC is the word for it, where everyone can listen to it. Next, I Get the Bag. I Get the Bag featuring Gucci Mane. Another great song. Everyone does a great job in their verses. Just another huge hit. Obviously, everyone's going to love that song. Okay, question mark. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. It's just basically the title is 3 question marks. It's Ty Dolla $ign featuring Migos. And this is, I think, one of the most underrated songs of all time. Everyone does a great job. The beat is amazing. Like, I remember I used to live at this place, 1660, and I had a roommate, and he had all his friends over. And I played this song. Everyone was hype. And then after this song, the next 3, like, everyone lost their hype. So this song was great. Question mark, featuring Migos by Ty Dolla $ign. Great song. Okay, Slide. Slide is, I think, by Calvin Harris. No. Frank Ocean. It's by Frank Ocean featuring the Migos. This is a very, like, different kind of rhythm or speed, but I thought it's like chill rap. It's very, like, slow, not like slow, but like no one's yelling. Everyone's just like, doing their thing. Very great song. Right after that, the next song, Fight Night, is exact opposite. Fight Night is a banger. Fight Night is what you're trying to party to, you're trying to fight to. Like, if I ever have a fight, especially in Atlanta, Fight Night would be the walkout song. Like, it's the beat's hard, the lyrics are hard, and it's literally called Fight Night. It's talking about fights. And I don't know if you ever watch the music video, it's kind of funny. It's like there's a huge fight, and it's these 2 girls fighting, and everyone's like watching and all this stuff. So that was a great song. Okay, so now we're getting to the real classics. So Slippery, going way back. I was dating this girl, and she sent me the music video to this song just because the chains and the ice and everything was so cool. So Slippery definitely brings me back. Another huge classic after that is Bad and Bougie. Bad and Bougie took over the world. It was like Closer. It was like whatever songs like capture everyone. Bad and Bougie was that. And I love the beginning, the intro. I think Offset does the intro. We ain't got a lot of old money. We got a lot of new money though. And this is another thing about Bad and Bougie is this is the only Lil Uzi verse I've ever liked. I have nothing against Lil Uzi. I think he's a great rapper, but I have never liked any of his songs. Like, it's just not a flow that kind of resonates with me. And yeah, I'm sorry, but in this verse, I don't know, it's very like syrupy, I would say, the way he kind of raps in this one, and I think he did a phenomenal job. And I think this might be the song that kind of launched his career too. And this is very like in the beginning. This is like junior year of college, 2015, 2014, and dude, this song took over. This was one of the biggest songs of the generation. Next is T-Shirt. T-Shirt is another great song. Let me see if I can get the lyrics, because I used to like. So there's a double meaning to the song, but the lyrics. Oh, sorry. But the lyrics are like, are beautiful. Alright, so. Okay, so Mama told me not to sell work. 17.5, same color T-shirt. So what I thought that meant was like, Mama told me, don't just settle for a normal job. Live your dream. Chase your dream. Do what you want to do. Do what you're going to do. But what's really this song is about selling cocaine. So not exactly the same. I think T-shirt is a euphemism for like cocaine and shit. So not exactly what I thought it was, but it's a banger. It's a great song. This is also up there with Bad and Bougie, as in like one of the biggest Migos songs that kind of everyone knows. And I think I will give Takeoff the most credit on this one. I think Takeoff kills this song the most. And then the last two songs are just Takeoff songs, and I have to shout them out because I think they're just great songs. So Last Memory is a beautiful song. The beat is like, it's different. It's like unique. It's special. It's like mysterious almost. The lyrics are great. This is one of those songs that I can actually rap most of it. Like, I actually know most of the lyrics to this song, and it's just a beautiful song. Like, I love this song. And the other one, Bruce Wayne, I'm not a huge fan of the song, but to label your song Bruce Wayne, to title it, I mean, I gotta stand for that. Like, these guys, I love Migos, and they like a lot of things that I like. Like Bruce Wayne, Batman, and then Takeoff. This is like one of my favorite movie of all time is Batman Begins and Dark Knight. That just whole trilogy. And Takeoff named his song Bruce Wayne, so I have to shout that out. And okay, there's this other song. Let me see if I can find this. The lyrics are actually beautiful. Like, if you guys don't think they're deep, if you're not a huge Migos fan, you have to listen to these lyrics, because this I actually posted this on my wall way back. I think it's called Culture 2. Let's see if I can find this. I guess I can edit this out. Intro. Okay, it's not Culture. It's Intro, No Label. Let me pull up the lyrics to Migos lyrics, and it's like it's motivational, kind of what they say. So the two guys I really like in this song are Quavo and Offset. Okay, so let me find the Offset verse. Okay, locked up on every mixtape. Quavo told me N-word wait. This is the only way we can escape. I realized it when I sat down for an 8. Grandma told me and Quavo to be patient. Grandma was a cancer patient. Before she died, she sat us down and said that we're gonna make it. So said, stay together and we're gonna make it. And then he says, and we made it. That's just beautiful. Like, his grandmother sat them down before she was on her deathbed almost, and was like, you guys need to stay together. If you guys stay together, you will make it. And they did. And they followed their advice. They did the right things, and they made it. And I think that line, that verse, sums up why I love Migos so much. Like, people think of them as these punk rappers, or like these guys who are just like having a good time slinging whatever. But I think in the beginning it was tough. Like, the reason they made it is because they stuck together. They worked hard. They grinded. Like, they definitely grinded. They were underground. They were working their asses off, and they made it. And it's because they stuck together, and it's because they worked hard, and because they were just moving so hard. And I think it's beautiful. And I think that's the right way to sum up kind of the portion on the Migos. Takeoff. Let me talk about Takeoff for a little bit. So Takeoff matured a lot as a rapper. In the beginning, he was rapping hard. He was throwing verses. He was yelling. He was hitting it hard. And I'm not saying I like that. I think he did a great job. But you see towards the end of his career, or not even the end of his career, just later on in his career, like, he turned into like smooth jazz. Like, if you listen to his last album, his voice is like slow but loud, and like it's like a saxophone. That's kind of what I would say Takeoff turned into. He was like a electric guitar turned into like an orchestra, a saxophone, something like that, which I thought was beautiful. Obviously, I wanted to see more and more. I was really sad hearing the news, and it's just so stupid. It's like, why are you killing someone over money? Like, this is also why I think more people need to learn how to fight. Like, if you can solve your problems with your fists, at least that's a healthy. I mean, okay, only so healthy, but it's a better way to deal with it. And I think people shoot guns because they don't know how to fight. So they're like, well, let the gun solve my problem. But if you really have a problem with someone, you should square up. You should tell them, hey man, you're doing this wrong. Like, we're throwing hands. And even the winners of fights have respect for the losers. Like, because you actually stepped up, you manned up, you backed your word, or you backed your stance, and you were like, all right, we're gonna go one-on-one or whatever, and this is what I believe, and I'm gonna stand up for it. But a gun is just like a nuclear bombs for the world are like guns for people. It's the easy way. Like, it's the easy way out. It's the cheat code. It's like, you need to work hard. Like, if you actually have a problem with someone, do something about it. Like, tell them. If they don't respect you, then you gotta throw hands. I think that is the right way to deal with your problems. Not just like pop and then shoot someone. That's the worst thing. And for just money. Like, money is one of the stupidest things. Like, I understand it's important, you should make money and whatever, but people like define their lives by it. Like, there's so much more to life. There's so many other things that you can be doing, you should be doing. Like, never ever is it worth killing someone for money. So that's kind of my take on it. So a couple more topics, and then I'm going to get down into chess and all the other stuff. Okay, so why is Jake Paul winning so many fights? Like, how is he doing it? And I think there's like two big reasons for it. One, and I would say like 80% of it, is I think he works really hard. Like, he's got a lot of money, so he hires real trainers. Like, he really trains. He knows that if I do this, I get millions of dollars. So if you know that if you work hard for 6 months, you get millions of dollars, yeah, I'm gonna work hard. And he's an athlete. Like, he wrestled, and at this point, I think he's a fighter. But I think this is something that people haven't really talked about and haven't kind of brought up. But think about who he's fighting. He's fighting all these people who have everything to lose, and he has nothing to lose. Like, he's supposed to lose. Like, he's fighting UFC fighters. He's fighting Anderson Silva. He's supposed to lose these fights. Like, people want him to lose. People are paying to watch him lose. So he's going to work hard. He's going to grind. And then psychologically, when they face up, his opponent knows, if I lose, I'm going to be like the laughing stock. It's going to hurt my career. I don't know about hurt my career, because most of these guys are already on the way out. But they're going to lose respect and like standing. Meanwhile, even if Jake loses, as long as he doesn't get starched, as long as he doesn't lose in the first round, if he can make it to the decision, he will gain respect. So he has nothing to lose in this. And if he wins, it's like, oh my God, he won. And this man is training hard, and psychologically, I think he has the upper hand. So just because he's fighting someone who already has a huge career, a huge like following, huge accolades, and they are supposed to beat him. Everyone he's fought, maybe except for Nate Robinson, he like they were supposed to beat him. So they like, and I kind of understand this like through playing chess. When I play low rated players like 1800, 1900, 2000, like if they play well, if they like hold their own, I have this extra psychological thing going on where it's like, man, I can't lose because like this guy's low rated. If I lose, I'm gonna look bad. Like it's annoying. Now a lot of times I will starch these guys because I've played a lot more, I've worked harder, I've done more things. But if they can hold their own, they're going to have a slight psychological edge. Now on the flip side, if I'm gonna play like an older grandmaster, someone who's already accomplished a lot, man, I'm trying to go for the throat. Like I'm like, I can beat this guy. I know I can beat this guy. He's not like that good. He's not that strong. Or like, I'm not going to say it like that. But I am more excited to have this game, to play this game. Even during the game, I'm like, sometimes like when I'm playing Grandmaster who's really good, like 2600, I'll be like, well, worst case, I lose. I'm supposed to lose. And then I'll be taking these risks. And now this guy, on the other hand, is like, dude, like I can't lose this. Like if I lose, it's gonna look bad. I'm gonna lose rating. Like I'm not supposed to lose these guys. So now they're gonna play more conservative. So this natural role of like playing up, you're gonna take more risks and they're gonna take less risks. Now, if sometimes you take too much risk and you get in trouble. And the way to combat that is like you have a level, like you want to be able to judge how much risk you're taking. And if it's a little bit of risk, then boom, I'm going to go for it. If it's a lot of risk, then at this level, I'm smart enough to know I will get punished. But there is a small in between where it's like, I can take this risk because I have nothing to lose. And my opponent can't take this risk because he has everything to lose. So I think this is the big thing, the big reason, not the big reason, but I think a significant part of why Jake Paul is doing so well. His opponent has everything to lose and Jake has everything to gain. And that's going to make it way easier, not way easier, but it's going to favor his side in a lot of these 50-50 battles. Where like if you're playing someone your level or higher, you're going to take that risk because you're like, man, I got to beat this guy. But when you're playing up and you're playing way down, I don't want to take that risk because I don't want to lose. And I want to take this risk because I can win. So I think that's a side of it that no one's really brought up about all the Jake Paul fights. End of the day, I think at this level he's a boxer. Like I'm not gonna say he's Canelo. I think Canelo would destroy him. Canelo is the top of the food chain, but he's climbed up fast and he's been working really hard. Like he's got good coaches, good trainers, and it's been like 4 years of working hard. Like you're gonna get good at something. Like that was my whole idea with stand-up comedy. It's like at some point, like okay, I'm not gonna be Dave Chappelle, but I can get good enough to make like people laugh at least a little bit, maybe a lot, or maybe at least somewhere in the middle. Like if I work at something, if I train, if I learn what's not working and I learn what's working, I can at least get to a decent level of being good. So that's the Jake Paul thing. Now the last podcast was actually in July. So I missed kind of the whole Europe kind of breakdown. So let me just break down the countries and kind of what was going on, or my takes on them. So first country was Biel, Switzerland. Switzerland was beautiful. Switzerland was hands down the most beautiful country. If you like nature, if you like hiking, if you like trails, if you like looking up in the sky and seeing a clear sky, or looking down in the water and seeing clear water, Switzerland's where you go. Beautiful country, and the tournament, Biel, was the most professional, most well-run tournament I've ever played in. It was very top of the food chain, very smooth. What's cool was they wrapped it around. It's funny because like, okay, I'm not like bad at chess. I'm not like amazing at chess. I'm pretty good at chess, right? So they had this like tournament for me, and then above that was a tournament for like the pros. So it was cool seeing like, dude, there are levels to this. Like, okay, you're pretty good, but these guys are on another level. So it was cool. I get to see a Gukesh, Nordebek. Kamsky was there, which is cool because I've drawn Kamsky. So I'm like, dude, I could kind of hold my own a little bit, I guess, technically, with those guys. So Beal was cool. Tournament was okay. Like the problem was it started out slow. Like I lost the first game to 2600. Okay, that's not the worst. Like black against 2600 first round is not how I wanted to start my Europe campaign. But it was still like a back and forth game, and like I think I could have held. Honestly, I don't think I played that well. But also out of the opening, like I don't think I was doing what I was trying to do. But then round 2, I played this like literally the guy looks like a Bond villain. He was like 7 years old, had glasses, coughed all the time, and that was not the best game. That was like the first 50 moves. I'm just gonna roll this guy, no problem. And the next like 40 moves, I'm like, dude, I think I might lose. Like I think I'm gonna lose. Oh my god, I'm losing. And then you lose, and you're like, dude, I came all the way over here, like I did all this, and I'm losing to a 2000 round 2. That was very non-ideal. So I kind of brought it back. I smashed. I think I won a couple games, and then I absolutely smashed this one 2400. Just beautiful game. Like if you look, it's like all like this will happen in some of my games. Like all the pieces are in perfect squares and they're doing something. That's the kind of game you want. It's like a good, well-oiled machine. It's like a good company. Like some days, my my chess games are like Hollywood Video. Like, you know what's going out of business soon. But some days, I'm like Microsoft or Apple. And I'm like, dude, this guy's going places. Like, Elon Musk is in charge of this company. Obviously not, what did I say? Google or Apple. But, like, take, for example, Tesla. Like, sometimes my games are like Tesla. Like, this guy's seeing everything. His future's looking good. Like, his pieces are great. Like that. Some of my games are like that. That was one of those games where I felt like I was Tesla. I was just super efficient. I ended up so I ended up finishing the tournament okay. Last round. This is one thing with Europe that I'm not a huge fan of. They spoil you. They go one game a day. They give you a rest day, and then so and every round is at like 2 p.m. right? 2 p.m. 3 p.m. And then the last day, they have the game at 10 a.m. It's like, dude, I've been waking up at 1 every day. I mean, I'm in Europe, so we've been having a good time, chilling with the homies. And then the last day, probably like, in general, the most important round, unless you've done so well that you don't need the last round, you're going to put it at 10 a.m. Dude, I remember at 10 a.m., that was a rough game. I played this international master, I think, Edward Song, maybe? No, Edward Song is the guy from America. But this international master from China. Well, he was Chinese, but he's from France. And 10 a.m., dude, I was like, I barely made it there. I was drinking coffee. God bless. If there wasn't coffee, like I went downstairs. I was like, please, someone give me something. And there was like this stand where they're selling food and coffee. And somehow I had like $2 of coins. They didn't take card. They only took cash or coins. And I had $2 of coins in my wallet. I bought this coffee. And this is what kept me alive. This is my IV drip, this coffee to me. And I made it to the game. And the guy didn't even play E4. He played E4 against me. And I kind of knew he prepped for me. And he got a good position. I sacked a pawn. Didn't have compensation. I think there was one point where I could have equalized. It wasn't super clear. And then I literally just got like suffocated, like grinded out in a tough endgame. So that was kind of how Beal ended. After Beal, I went to Andorra. So if you think Beal or Switzerland is beautiful, Andorra is a country that everyone should see at some point in their life. The mountains are so big, so beautiful. Like literally every day I wake up and I look up and I see mountains. Like you see sky too, but the big thing is you see mountains and the view from the hotel. Dude, this hotel spoiled me so much because they had a sauna. This is the first time I ever came in contact with a sauna. Dude, saunas are amazing. Like, I haven't found one since I came back, but I'm going to find one because I love the sauna. The sauna is, I like spicy food. I'm Indian, so I like hot stuff. And the sauna was literally just amazing. So that was indoor. The tournament was good. It was actually like one of my best performances, except I slept through one of the games. I slept through one of the games and I finished with 6 out of 9. 6 out of 9 at that point was the highest score I've ever gotten like a big tournament, and I did that with around despair. So that was a good tournament. I gained a bunch of rating. After that was Merida, Spain. Okay, so Spain, Barcelona. We spent a day in Barcelona. Barcelona is one of the most beautiful countries in terms of women. The country is cool too, but everyone in Barcelona is a smoke show. Everyone is beautiful. Like me and Sasha would walk around. We'd just be walking around, and Sasha would be like, "Dude." He'd be like, "Dude, I know." That would happen like multiple times through Barcelona. So Barcelona was super, super cool. Then we went to Merida. Merida was okay. This is my one bad tournament. This is where I kind of came up with this, or I learned the lesson the hard way, that you have to beat people in chess. Let me say that again. You have to beat your opponents in chess. Like sometimes we think that our opponent's going to just lose, and because to be fair, sometimes our opponents will just beat themselves. But if you don't do anything, if you just kind of move back and forth, if you just like don't cause any problems for them, sometimes they don't mess up, especially kids. Kids don't like. I will say like one thing, and I keep going on tangents here, but like when you play older people, at some point they're like, wait, I'm supposed to lose because I'm low rated. Okay, I'll lose. And kids don't do that. Kids will be like, I think I can win. I always think I can win. One day I'm going to be world champion. So they're always going to play. They're always going to keep coming at you. And that's when you learn, like you got to beat these people. You can't just make random moves. Like there was one game specific. I mean, there's 2 games specifically, but I'll talk about one of them where it's just like on move 6, I traded queens. I never do that. I literally did that because I was like, okay, he'll just lose. And then, I mean, he just like perfectly grinded me out. And it's not like it was that hard because I wasn't really doing anything. So this is a very important lesson for when you're playing down. You have to beat these guys. Like, okay, sometimes they'll just fall over, but if they don't, make them fall over. Like, attack them, cause problems. Or, and I think another really important thing is when you're reeling, don't start going crazy. Don't be erratic. Don't start like, oh my God, what's going on? Let me just do this. No, you gotta like consolidate, hold your own, like get back to equilibrium. I don't know if that is not the right way to say it, but it's basically you need to equalize, and then eventually, like in a long, hard battle, you can try to come back. But there were 2 games specifically in Merida where I just like played bad, then I was worse, and then I had moments where I could just like not make things worse. That's the best way to put it. But instead, I made things worse, and I was like always up on time. I was always like just chilling. I remember I walked a lot during this tournament, and yeah, that was a big lesson for me. And the last game I did play this Grandmaster, and if I had won, I would have salvaged everything. I would have made up for all the mistakes I made, and I even got a really good position, had him really low on time, and then once again, this guy loves endgames, always goes to endgames, and here I am. I find myself in endgame down a pawn. That's not where I want to be. So I think Merida was a very, very important learning lesson for me. Because after that, I haven't had a bad tournament in like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. 4 months. So I'm glad it happened. Obviously, I wish I didn't have to learn it the hard way. But we all know that sometimes we got to learn it the hard way so that we don't have to keep learning it. So after Merida, there was Italy, and Italy was my favorite country. I loved Italy. Country is beautiful too. I mean, pretty much all the countries in Europe are pretty beautiful, but like in terms of people, the best people in Italy. They're just so nice, so sweet. There's one story specifically, and let me tell you guys this. So there was a day between tournaments. I'll get into the tournament, but there's a day between tournaments where like I don't know. There's no one working. There's no restaurants open. And me and my friend are stuck, and we're trying to get food. Like we need to get food at some point, right? So we talked to the people that work there, and they're like, "Okay, this place is definitely open. I promise you, with my whole life, it's open. All you gotta do is get there." And we're like, "Okay, we'll get there." It was an hour and a half walk. or like an hour walk. So we're like, okay, I mean, we need food, right? So I'll walk an hour to get food. And you already know, we walk an hour, hour and a half, however long it was to get there, and they're closed. Dude, when I found out they were closed, because I was even like, I mean, we should probably call first just to check, but they were so sure that it was, they were like, I guarantee you, everyone else is closed, but I guarantee you these people are open. So you just walk there and you'll get there. And then we get there and it's closed. So the kind of the worst part about it being closed is now we're even more hungry, and now we got to walk back an hour. So we're walking back. We're like, oh, what is life? I can't believe this is happening, blah, blah, blah. And then we see this one place that's open, or it looks, we see smoke coming out of like a chimney or something. So we walk over there and we're like, hey, do you guys have food? Or like, you guys have a restaurant? And they were like, no, we're closed today. And then this guy looked at us and he was like, you know what? Just come in. And they gave us food. They gave us water. They gave us everything. And dude, for real, like that might have been one of the happiest moments of my life. To like work that hard, to walk damn near 3 hours, hungry. Like we were hungry when we started walking. So you can imagine by the end, we were starving. We had walked and we still had more time to walk. And the guy was just like, hey man, I'm going to help you out. I know you're hungry. I know everything's closed too. And we got you. So this is a huge reason of why I love Italy. Also, the organizer, Andreas, super nice guy, great guy. We literally like provided transportation, provided this, gave us free hotel, all this stuff. So that was amazing too on top. So Italy was great. The first tournament in Italy, it started out well, and this is my first good start, so I was really excited. And then I just got double teamed by 2 Indian people. I lost. I mean, when you look back at some of your games, you're just like, what was I doing? Like, I played against this guy who played the Dutch, and I love playing against the Dutch. I played the Dutch. I know how bad, I know how beatable it is. And it's like every 5 moves, I'm like, why did I do that 5 moves ago? And then 5 moves later, I'm like, why did I do that 5 moves ago? So that was that game. And then another game, I played this Indian girl after that, and that was even worse. That was like, I know this is bad, but I'm going to do it. And after that, I did stabilize. I got some good wins, got some good games, and then I drew the last game against some 2400. So this is where the trip was supposed to end. I was supposed to stop after this and then just go home. But I was like, dude, I need to get a norm. Like, I can't just come all the way over here, gain. I think I was maybe up like 50, 60 points, which is still solid. But I was like, I came here to get a norm. Like, this is my whole goal. This is why I came to Europe. And the organizer had another tournament in Italy. So we went to that, and that tournament was just amazing. I was like, oh my God. Like, it was on the beach pretty much. They had basketball courts. They had ping pong. They had facilities. They had free food. They had free hotel. I was like, dude, am I in paradise? Like, if I died there, I would have been happy. And that tournament, I just tore through everything. I lost to one guy. I lost to this guy, Vishak, who is a super, super strong Grandmaster. Actually, if you want to circle all the way back, in Beal, in the first tournament in Beal, he was, I think, 5-0, 4-0, or like 6-0. Like, he won every game and he drew the rest. This guy was a monster. So this is the guy I lost to. And everyone else, I beat an IM, drew GM, drew another GM, beat a 2300, beat kind of everyone else. So 6.5 out of 9. That was my score at the end. I was 6 out of 8, and I could have lost the last game and still gotten a norm. So I had already clinched a norm with a round to go, which is the greatest feeling on earth. It's like, wow, there's no stress. I don't have to worry about the last game. Boom. I still drew it, and it was a great feeling. It was like I got my 3rd norm. I still have some work to do to officially get International Master, but the norms are the hard part, and it was just like, when I was playing that extra tournament in Italy, the second one, I was like, dude, like, what am I doing? Like, what if I just don't do well here? And now I wasted even more money and more time. But I found a way. Like, life is like that. It's like, the last second, if you push through what you think is possible, like anything can happen. The best thing, not even just anything, the best things can happen. The best things are waiting for you at the end of hard work and pain and struggle and all that stuff. So I'm a huge how do I say that, activist, supporter of working hard and just pushing through. Push through. At some point you'll look back and you'll be like, I'm so glad I pushed through. Because sometimes we'll look back and we'll be like, dude, I wish I pushed through there just to find out what would happen. So definitely go as hard and as far as you can when the opportunity is there. So ever since then, tournaments have been good. But I will get to tournaments in the chess breakdown. Okay, so one more thing before I get into the breakdown. I've been talking a lot, and I guess the whole thing is just me talking. But one thing I've noticed, and one thing that really bothers me, is my phone. What's annoying, actually, this is the best way to put it. In a perfect life, in a perfect world, this is what I would do. I would wake up. I would go to the gym. Okay, I would read the Bible, do my thing. Then I'd go to the gym. I would box. I'd do Jiu Jitsu for a couple hours. Do that. Come home. Cook dinner. Study some chess. That evening, go do an open mic. Do some stand-up. And then come home and go to bed. And then every couple weekends, I'd play tournaments. But the problem with having a phone is people just keep reaching out to you. Like, there's so many messages, there's so many things that you have to do. Like, back in the day when you had friends, when you had family, when you had people that you know, you would see them, you would talk to them, you'd be happy to see them because you haven't talked to them. You talk, you do your thing, and then you go, you leave. And then next time you do something, you see them, you talk to them. But now, because of our phones, we got to talk to people all the time. It's ridiculous. Like, I got to talk to my mom. I talk to my dad. Like, everyone's texting. You got your friends. You got, like, a bunch of different friends. You got random people just hitting you up. Like, hey, can we do this? Hey, you want to do this? It's like, it's too much. It's too much. And I live a busy life. So having to deal with all these messages and all these texts and all these phone calls. Like, hey, can we talk now? Hey, can we talk now? No, dude, just, like, meet me here. Or, like, I'm going to come home for Christmas. Or, like, I will see you at the chess tournament. Everything else, it just feels like, why are we just talking forever? Like, why are we talking every week? Like, what are we doing? And the transition from this is, one, I can't imagine being a girl. Like, I have a lot of people I have to deal with. Girls have so many guys that they have to deal with. I'm sure at some point you just, like, tune out. You're just like, nope, cut. And that's also a problem. Like, you get this, like, a nihilistic, almost like numb to the feeling with all these messages, with all these people trying to meet up, trying to do this. Like, I can't even imagine being a girl, and I'm already overrun. And if you, I mean, we all know that a lot of guys like to talk to girls, and they're always trying to be like, hey, can we get a date? Hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do this? Like, I can't, like, especially a hot girl, that's a full-time job. You have guys all over the world texting you, messaging you, be like, hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do this? And I feel like a problem with this too is that a lot of things, like, slip through the gaps. There are certain people that I probably should have talked to, but I was so busy doing other stuff, I missed this person. Or there's so many people I didn't want to talk to that I had to avoid or had to deal with that I didn't get to talk to the people that I wanted to talk to. What a time. What a text. Crazy. Anyway. So phones, I think we were not meant for this. Like, we need to meet people face to face, do things, talk to them, and then go be your way. Like, okay, if you have a girlfriend or you have a wife or you have, like, a husband or whatever, okay, you spend all the time with them. But why am I talking to, like, 20 people at the same time every day of my life? It's too much. And I'm a busy person. I do chess. I do stand-up. I do chess. I do chess. I like to box. I like to do jiu-jitsu. I'll meet people there. But, like, people just keep reaching out and asking this. Can you do this? Can you do this? And, oh, my God. Another thing that I hate is when people ask you, can you do a favor for me? And then they're like, hey, you didn't do the favor good enough for me. I'm like, bro, I'm doing a favor for you. Like, how are you going to be like, you got to do it better? Like, I'm already taking time out of my day to do something for you, and I'm not doing good enough. Don't ask me. And like, sometimes, I'm sorry. Like, like I said, I have a bunch of stuff to do, so it's tough. So that's my thing about phones and how it must be super annoying for girls. So I can't even imagine. But yeah, in a perfect world, dude, you just do the things you love. You're around the people that you love while you're doing it. And then we don't have to just keep talking all the time to time, like again and again and again and again and again. So that's kind of my take on that. All right, so now for part 2 of the podcast, chess breakdown. So you guys heard about Europe. The last 2 tournaments I played after coming back, actually there's 3. There was one in Virginia. That one was going well, and then I played a good friend of mine, and I lost, and that was a little heartbreaking. So that was my only kind of bad tournament. Helped him gain a bunch of rating, which is always nice. But after that, I played the New York State Championship. I got 2nd place. I had to take a bye the last round because I had a flight, and I could not risk missing this flight. As someone who's missed a lot of flights, I'm starting to learn when you can see it coming. Just like chess, when you have bad positions, or when you can see a position that's not going to happen, not going to work out, I can kind of see that coming in life now. Am I doing anything about it? I'm trying, but we still have a lot of work to do. So I played the New York State Championship, got 2nd place, cash for $800, and then I played the Thad Rogers Georgia Class Championship and got 1st place. I took a bye Saturday morning to run a tournament, and then ended up still winning the tournament. It's 5 rounds. I played, the 3 rounds I played before the last round. This is getting really confusing. But I won all my games except for the last one. And all I needed was a draw to win the tournament. So in the past, I would have been like, I'm going to win no matter what. This one, I took it safe. And I actually had a worse position. My opponent was -3 at one point. And then he offered a draw. And I was like, you know what? We're not going to try too hard. Guaranteed money, guaranteed rating. We take that. So I won that tournament. So what have I been doing to get better at chess? I think the big thing is reading chess books and studying openings. So the books I've been reading have been Positional Chess by Jacob Aagaard and Thinking Inside the Box by Jacob Aagaard. Both these books have been phenomenal for my growth. They really break down the strategy. I'm a huge, huge fan of Jacob Aagaard as a writer and as a person. I would 100% recommend all his books. It's really given me an insight into positional chess. Like even now, when I'm teaching chess lessons, I can actually like see in the position, why is one person better? What are things to look for? A couple of things that I'm gonna just say right now, that I think every chess player should kind of have a good idea about is 1, the bishop pair. In open positions and in general, the bishop pair makes a big difference. It's how you can get an advantage. 2 bishops are better than a bishop and a knight, and way better than 2 knights in most positions. Now, you want to be able to tell when is the right time to have the bishop pair, and all you have to do is ask yourself, is this an open position or is this a closed position? And how much control and activity do these pieces have? Another big thing that I've learned about positional chess is space and weaknesses. There was this great quote by Magnus. He was like, whoever controls the center controls the board. So if you can control the center, control a lot of space, then you can kind of go for whatever kingside attack, queenside attack. The option is yours, but you need to control the center. Previously, I'd be going for attacks. The center would get wide open. My opponent would have control, and that's how I would lose. And then weaknesses. Looking at pawn weaknesses. Actually, in Thinking Inside the Box, there was a great breakdown of what you want to think about during the move. Well, the way I like to do it is step 1 is strong side and weak side. What side of the board are you focusing on? What side of the board are you going to try to ignore? Don't waste time on the wrong side of the board. I see people do that all the time. The second thing is pieces. So you want to look at your worst pieces and then your opponent's worst pieces, and always, always, always try to improve your worst pieces. Think about it like a company. If you have employees that are sitting back and doing nothing, specifically, I see these pieces the most. The rook on A1, the bishop on C1, or the rook on A8 and the bishop on C8. These pieces are always neglected. People don't finish developing. And if you don't have an idea for your bad pieces, you're not fully maximizing the potential in your position. So after pieces, you want to look at weaknesses. And I think the 3 steps for weaknesses, and this is a kind of me ad-libbing a little bit too. He didn't specifically say this, but you want to look at pawns for weaknesses, you want to look at space for weaknesses, and kings. These are the 3 kind of steps for weaknesses. Which pawns are weak, whose king is weak, and who has more space. And you want to try to rectify these problems. So after you look at strong side, after you look at pieces, after you look at weaknesses, then you start coming up with candidates. And the problem that I see people do is they just come up with moves. You don't want to just come up with moves. You want to see what is going on in the position. A big question that Agard raised is, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to get out of this position? And do that for your opponent too. The reason that you do these steps, strong side, pieces, weaknesses, is that information will help you decide what move to make. If you just start looking at moves, you're missing the big idea. But if you start with the idea first, what am I trying to do? What is going on here? The moves find themselves. So don't be a move-based person, be an idea-based person. And this kind of translates well into the next step. And I think it's like the big epidemic or pandemic among chess players is I think there's chess players and then there's blitz players. And a lot of people get stuck in this idea of becoming a blitz player. They just play a lot of blitz, they play, and they're like, I'm not improving, I'm always stuck at this rating. Sometimes they go up 100 points, sometimes they go down 100 points, but you don't see concrete improvement. And that's because you're a blitz player. You're trying to flag people, you're not actually getting better at chess. To get better at chess, read books, watch videos, watch Grandmasters play. I can't stress enough, you want to watch, like chess.com is great because they host these blitz battles or these tournaments online of Grandmasters playing Grandmasters. If you want to learn how to beat a Grandmaster, watch them lose. Who's beating them? Other Grandmasters, other players, and see what's going on. Most of the time, they're not just making silly blunders. It's through strategy. It's through pressure. It's through opening preparation. That is how you're going to beat the best of the best. That is a very, very important thing to get better at chess. So study. Study, study, study. If you are just going to play blitz 5 hours a day, you're not going to get as good as if you play blitz 1 hour a day, study chess, go over openings, watch videos. So I can't stress it enough. Please, 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 don't just play blitz, study chess. And then another kind of thing that helped me a lot in my chess is I've seen a maturity, as in I kind of alluded to this before, but avoid these positions or avoid these pitfalls that you make again and again and again. There's definitely trends that each person has that this is their weakness. In the beginning, like up to 1400, maybe even up to 2000, is just about tactics and knowing some opening and then knowing some strategy. To really make that step, that jump to the next level, you need to recognize, why am I losing? What are my weaknesses, and avoid them. For me, it was trying to do too much. And something cool about chess is the problems that you have on the chessboard are oftentimes the problems that you have in life. If you can fix these problems on the chessboard, you will fix these problems in life, and vice versa. If you fix your problems in life and you apply that to chess, you will fix your chess problems. So for me, it was trying to do too much, being too optimistic, and then being in over my head, and then everything coming down or collapsing. So what I try to do is, if I know this position is not going to work, I just try to do something normal. Just, develop a piece. Don't do too much. Sometimes let your opponent beat themselves. A lot of the time, your opponent will do too much, or he won't do anything. And that's going to give you time to get back. So don't lash out. Don't do something crazy when you're worse. That is a good way to not beat yourself. For me, beating myself was my favorite thing to do. I've gotten better at that. Another thing that's kind of helped is I've been very versatile. I've been playing different openings, pretty much anything. And people are like, how do you play so many openings? How do you do this? I mean, one thing is I've been playing chess for 25 years now, or 23 years now, which is a lot of time. So I've seen a lot of stuff. At the same time, I don't know all the opening theory. I definitely know some theory. I know a good amount of theory, and I've seen a lot of stuff. But that's where the principles and strategy comes in. Yeah, okay, maybe sometimes you miss some things, but if you have good principles, if you kind of have a good base for what you're trying to do, you can kind of play anything. And I guess the last kind of big step for chess is when you're winning, don't lose. It's like, it sounds really simple, but so many times we have these winning positions and we start taking these risks that we don't need to take. In Jiu Jitsu, it's called position before submission. Sometimes we're winning and we go for the submission, and then we go from on top of the person to now we're defending. When you're winning, when you were significantly better, you should never have to worry about losing. So you're going to have these moments where you have these variations and they look suspect, but you're like, I'm winning, I could do anything. Let me just get this over with. Don't do that. Don't take that risk. And at the same time, and this is why chess is hard, if you're winning and the opportunity is there, take that opportunity. Don't miss opportunities doing nothing or being like, I don't want to do anything. And then later on, you miss this opportunity, your opponent comes back, and now you're losing. So it's a very, very yin and yang kind of balance thing of don't do too much, but don't do too little. And you start getting this like sixth sense, this like intuition of when to do what, when is the time right. That'll build over time. But the real first step to kind of getting better at that is be conscious of it. Think about it, be very aware, be self-aware, and think like, is now the time? Am I winning right now? Have a good understanding of the position. And that is why, to tie this all up, you don't want to be a blitz player, you want to be a chess player. Gather information out of the position, come up with a good analysis, and then make a decision. But if you're just playing, if you're playing on impulse, if you're just making moves, you're going to miss so much. There's so much in the position that you don't know, you don't understand. And that's why things are going to go bad. Not all the time, but oftentimes. Okay, so next, stand up. Stand up has been getting a lot better. Kind of what launched my stand up getting better is I had the worst bombing, the worst set of all time. I knew I wasn't ready, but I was like, I'm just gonna go take my beating. And this one particular beating was worse than most of them. I got a laugh. The first joke was like, dude, I'm not ready. They laughed, and then it was just like, oh man, when is it gonna be over? That's like, you almost see pity in the eyes of the people that you're looking at when you're doing your set. So what I took away from that is definitely practice. Say the script beforehand. Also, know when you're writing a script that is going to be way too hard to say. Like, what also hurt me with that one set was like, I had to memorize like 6 different punchlines off of the same premise. And for me, that's just way too hard. I don't know, like that takes a lot of practice. But if you can kind of flow naturally, if there's a good flow to it, and there's good, like the transitions make sense, it's way easier to remember. The other thing is, do that set a lot. Like the last maybe 3 or 4 times, 80% of the material was the same. I had the same base for my material, and I would tweak things here and there. Like I know what jokes work, so I keep those in, and then the ones that didn't work, every time I go up, I try to work on those. I try to improve something there. I try to change up the words, change up the idea, change up the punchline. But the ones that work, I keep those there, and I have those to fall back on. And that makes stand-up go way easier, and it makes time slow down. Like you'll see this in the beginning or as you're improving, and I've seen this in chess, in stand-up, in boxing, and everything. The more you practice, the more you're familiar with the material, time will slow down. You'll see things you've seen before. You'll say things you said before. You'll see your opponents do things they've done before. Now you can start looking at, okay, what else can I do? Because I've seen this. I know this is going to happen. Now I can start kind of playing with what I'm trying to do. And kind of the last thing I have to say with stand-up is when you do that, you're way more calm. Like even there's one time, like I completely forgot the punchline. I had a punchline to end the set. I forgot it, but I was calm because the rest of the set had gone well. So I just like, I don't know how to say this, but I bombed gracefully. Like I was like, I didn't know the punchline. I was like, so kind of the way I said it was, one day you guys will hear this punchline. Today is not that day. You keep coming week after week after week, and it's gonna be there. And it's not like it was like super creative, but it was like it flowed naturally. There was no awkward pause like you saw like 6 seconds ago, and people rolled with it. It was fine. A lot of what you see is people will mirror or reflect how you are portraying yourself. If you're nervous, if you're anxious, if you don't have belief in your content, the crowd will automatically pick that up, and they will not have belief in your content. If you're natural, if you're smooth, if you're just rolling, if you're just talking, if you kind of have an idea of what you're saying, people will be more accepting of it. So that's stand-up. Boxing has been like that too. I've been sparring a lot in boxing recently, and I've been doing this for a sec now. So getting punched, not that bad. Like, you get used to it. Moving is very important. And I've been watching this guy, MMA Shredded. This guy, I think Jack Chan or something. Great content. This guy makes great content on how to get better at boxing, the things to look out for. As a smaller guy, I gotta move. Like, moving for small people, moving is super important, because you can't just shell up there and take punches. Like, this guy, like, your opponents will be 180, 200, even 230, 240 sometimes. If you just absorb punches, you can absorb maybe 1 or 2, but you start getting to 4 or 5, and like, your body can only take so much. So you gotta move, and that is my kind of special power as a small person. I already know I have really good cardio, so I'm not really worried about getting tired. So I'm just circling. I'm moving side to side. I'm moving back and forth. I'm making this guy chase me. And that works way better. Another cool thing, actually 2 cool things. So long guard and head movement. I've been watching some videos on this. Long guard is kind of when you put your hands like this and then you move like that. So you're going to parry a lot with the lead hand, and I think you're going to use your forearm to parry with your rear hand. And for someone small who's not trying to take hits, I like this a lot better. I'm always kind of, and then the other thing with this is you have a good judgment of range, because you already have your hands basically 3/4 out, so you're gonna know if punches are coming, and you can just block and move and just keep moving. Now, people are gonna try to cut you off, push you to the corner. Now you have to be good at moving, and you gotta throw. The other thing is you gotta earn the respect of your opponent. You can't just take punches. You can't just move. You can't just move your head. Head movement also is beautiful. Love head movement. It's very important. It looks very, best way to say it is just sexy. When you're dodging punches and you're making the guy miss, something I heard from one of the videos is it takes more energy to miss than to hit someone. So if they're missing again and again and again, they're going to get tired faster, which is all part of my plan, because I am the cardio guy. I want to get these guys tired, and that's when you really start teeing off. So you want to start like earning the respect, going bop bop, hit him here, hit him there. And then as you start seeing weaknesses, as you start seeing holes, that's when you capitalize. Another thing, and I don't think boxers or fighters get enough credit for this, is you have to be very intelligent to be a fighter. Like, as you get better and better, you're going to fight people who aren't just going to cave. Like, in the beginning, if you're really strong, if you're fast, if you're confident, you can just knock out everyone, no problem. But as you get better, your opponents aren't just going to give up. They're going to hit you back, they're going to move, they're going to have strategy too. So at the highest level, the technicians, the Israel Adesanyas, they are watching what you're doing. They are saying, okay, if I hit you with this kick, you're going to move this way. If I throw in my right hand, you're moving this way. And they're taking into account all this information, and now they're going to start setting you up. They're going to go jab, maybe the best example of this is Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. Leon was dead to rights, 5th round, gassed, broken man, but his coaches noticed that every time he was throwing this jab, Usman was dropping his head. And they were like, fake the jab, hit him with I think it was the rear leg. It must have been the rear leg, because that's the power leg. So they were like, fake the jab and then throw that kick. And like magic, he faked the jab, threw the kick, timed it perfectly, knocked out Usman, who's never been knocked out before, with just the perfect time kick, and his life changed. Like, that's an extreme example of if you do something right, it's like your life goes 2 different ways. Now he's champion. Now he's making way more money. Now he's way more famous, and it's because of good strategy. So that should be a good lesson for how smart you have to be a fighter. You have to be watching these things. Sometimes you have your coaches there for you too, but really it's up to you. And you're the one throwing, you're the one doing everything. So I think that's super, super important. Another thing that I've been experimenting with, and I think is really cool, is switching stances. So switching stances in boxing is like playing E4 or D4 or like C4 or other openings in chess. It gives your opponent a different look. They have more information they have to process now. If you switch stance, the punches are coming from different angles. You're going to have a better chance of overloading your opponent. And The other thing I like about switching stances is my best hand. I'm a right-handed fighter, or right-handed everything, right-handed whatever, basketball, chess, everything. Now my left hand has gotten a lot better through, I think, basketball and more so boxing, just having to throw this jab so much, and that's why I think I can switch stances. Because when you switch stances, naturally my right hand. So when I fight orthodox, my right hand is in the back, and my left hand is my jab, and I'm jabbing, and trying to time this right hand. Now timing right hands is, if you hit it, it's great, but it's hard because it takes so much distance and time to get to your opponent. It's your rear hand. But when I switch stances, now my right hand is forward and my left hand is backwards. My left hand is strong enough where I can still do some power if I hit across, but now my right hand is my jab, and my right hand is my best hand, and it's my jab. So now I can really judge distance. I can actually hit people with jabs that can do some damage because it's my dominant hand. And another fighter who does this is Lomachenko. He's a right-handed fighter, but a lot of times he will switch hands, and his right hand will lead the dance. And it's a different look. I think it's cool. I haven't sparred with it yet. I've just only hit the bag switching stances. But next time I spar, I am for sure going to switch stances and see how it goes. Now I heard offense is fine when you switch. It's defense that's way harder. I'm still gonna keep this long guard for defense, so we'll see what happens. But do different things, play around. Like, this is like how you get better at chess, at jiu-jitsu, at boxing, at everything else. Do things you haven't done before. See if it works. See if it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, you could throw it away. You could keep working on it. You could bring it out here and there. But be versatile. Try everything, because I mean it's your life. It's your experience. The more you try, the more information you have, the more you'll be able to do different things. In chess, I limited myself for so long by sticking to these only openings, and sometimes you get stuck. Sometimes you're not a pro at them. Sometimes there's other stuff that people are weak against. So be versatile. As far as jiu-jitsu goes, I need to get back. Right now, I've been very scared to get back into jiu-jitsu because it's been a sec. I know I'm going to get pummeled the first week or two. I know I'm going to be sore. I know I'm going to hurt in random places. But this week, I will be getting back into jiu-jitsu and be watching videos and doing all that stuff. So really looking forward to getting back into jiu-jitsu and sparring and boxing. As far as business, marketing, and other stuff goes, like with Twitch, with WolfChess, with all this stuff, what I'm learning is consistency and effort are very, very important. If you start dropping consistency, it's almost like stand-up. The people that you're doing business with will also stop dropping in consistency. So you need to do everything you can. You need to match the maximum levels of effort, and people will see that and pick that up. So I think that's important, whether it's in business or in work or whatever other people have going on in their life. Like, do what you can control and do it well. And people will mirror and pick up the energy that you're putting out there, which I think is very important. And if you lose consistency, like the best example I can put of this is over the summer, I was running tournaments on Tuesdays, these Tuesday evening tournaments, and they were going great. And then I traveled to Europe, was gone for about a month and a half, and then I came back and I was like, well, these Tuesday tournaments were going great. They're going to go exactly the same. There's other factors. Now there's school. Now there's other things, and we dropped off. So to get it back, I'm going to have to put in a lot of consistency, just do the same output I was doing before, control what I can control. But definitely you can see a big drop in numbers after disappearing for a month and a half. And you're going to see that with Twitch, with YouTube. You got to be consistent. Keep putting stuff out there. Don't stop. And don't make excuses. There's so many times I'm like, dude, I'll just do it tomorrow. I mean, whatever. I'll just do it tomorrow, no problem. And then tomorrow never comes. So if you say you're going to do something and you set a time, and no matter what happens, you go do that and you figure out what you can do with the other time you have. But if you start pushing things off, you get in the slippery slope of, when am I going to stop pushing it off? I don't know. It's going to keep getting pushed, and pushed off. So consistency, effort, and energy, I think, are very big. A couple random things that I want to talk about after, and then that'll be it for episode 24. All right. So the last couple things, just some sports stuff. So NBA, NFL are back in full swing. There's so many sports right now. Something funny that Jake Paul said was like, I will never fight again in in the fall. Fights will be in the summer, just because there's so much distractions. There's so many other things going on. And this summer, it's only fighting. And yeah, I mean, there's just so much stuff to watch right now. It's pretty tough. I think baseball just ended. I have literally like 1% idea of what's going on in baseball. I think there's a new champion, but like a couple weeks ago, there was basketball, there was baseball, there was football. I think there was Champions League. There's UFC. There's boxing. There's too many things. So if you really want to be successful, the summer is the time for fighters. Now, Tom Brady and LeBron James. These guys have defied time for so long, but this is the first season you're starting to see cracks in the armor. And my theory behind this is it's not about their bodies. I think these guys take they put millions of dollars to taking care of their bodies. So that's not the problem. And I think for a lot of older athletes, that is the problem. But these guys have so much money and so many specialists helping them out. It's not about their bodies. I think they still perform pretty well. But for these guys, I think it's distractions. I think Tom Brady just going through like a really rough divorce right now. And it's like during the middle of the season, this is not the time for that to happen. And another like parallel to this is like Hans Niemann. I can't imagine having to play with a lawsuit, with all these accusations. And my take on it real quick is until there is proof that he's cheated, we assume that he's not cheated because it just seems impossible. Yes, it seems like he's gotten really good really fast and he keeps winning everything. But I'm like 99% sure he works really, really hard. And that is why he's getting good. Like, it's not something crazy. It's almost like the Jake Paul thing too. If you want to tie it all back. Like, people don't want to lose to Hans. They look bad. Hans wants to beat everyone. He has nothing to lose. He's supposed to lose to Magnus. And he works hard. He's not going to get beat. And at some point, like the psychological pressure gets to your opponents. Not all the time. And he's winning these games. Now, flip that around and imagine you have to hold a slightly worse position against Wesley So. You're thinking there. You're in time pressure. And at the back of your head, you have all these people watching, all these people saying, this guy's a cheater, this guy's doing this. Chess.com dropping you. Like, it's very hard to focus when you have so many distractions. Another parallel I will say, before I get back, like a tangent on tangent, but playing chess post-breakup is one of the worst ideas and things. Because you have to sit and think for 5-6 hours twice a day. You know at some point you're going to start thinking about that breakup. At some point your mind's going to wander. It's going to be your opponent's move. You're going to walk around and you're going to be sitting there. And now you're going to be distracted. You don't want that negative energy in you. 2 ways to combat that is 1, get over the breakup, then play. Or 2, I don't know, but be a sociopath. Compartmentalize it. Put it away. Don't let it affect you. You need to stay 100% locked in. And for Hans, I'm sure that's super difficult. For Tom Brady, it's super difficult. You're super famous. Everyone knows about it. Everyone's posting about it. And then LeBron James, to cap this off, everyone kind of knows it's his final season, and his team isn't putting up production. Like, they're like one of the worst shooting teams in the league. So it's going to be a lot harder to play with this pressure. I think they also started out like 0-5, matching his worst start ever. Now you have all these people talking, all these people doing this, doing that, saying all these things, and your team's not doing well. That is why I think time is starting to win against these guys. It's a combination of the body being, the body being kind of tired, or like you don't get to get away with things you got to get away with when you're younger. I think these guys are still doing a phenomenal job, but the distractions on top of that are what makes it very hard to perform and do so well at such a high level. You also have to take into account these guys are playing at the highest level of their sports. These are the greatest players. Maybe Hans Niemann not yet, but Tom Brady, LeBron James, and Hans Niemann, like, they are playing good people. Like, Hans is playing Magnus Carlsen, Wesley So, Ferrugia, all these guys who are the top of their field. These little things like distractions, like people talking behind their back, like not being able to focus, that is what makes it hard. The only person, and I don't know if, I guess maybe the only 2 people that are really good at it are these guys, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. When Kobe Bryant had that court case against him, dude, that man was balling out. He was taking out his frustrations on the basketball court. So to really, really tune out the distractions, you need to work like psychotically hard. If you are working psychotically hard, I mean, like, you already know what to do. You can let your mind wander. Like, Michael Jordan would party, drink, whatever, because he worked so hard. Like, his body knew what to do. So if you're in one of these predicaments where you have a lot of distractions in life, just put on the blinders and focus on your craft, on what you have to do. That is another great way to kind of overcome these obstacles, these problems, and kind of take it to the next level. Okay, and then a couple things about the NBA, NFL that I've seen so far. Nothing super crazy. Right now, every sport seems wide open. Anyone can beat anyone. Another big part of this is injuries. Dude, when I'm watching the NBA, I never, ever know who's playing. There are certain teams that are consistent. The Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo will always play. The Celtics, for example, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, these guys are always playing. But you take, for another example, the Lakers. Anthony Davis is sitting out. LeBron James is sitting out. Russell Westbrook be healthy and he's sitting out. Or my personal favorite. Actually, I got two favorites, but one is definitely better than the other. Let's start with the second one. Kawhi Leonard. I mean, this guy is chilling, dude. I don't know, like, when he wants to play, when he doesn't want to play. Like, the last 3 years, when has he consistently played? Like, he's paying millions of dollars. I mean, I don't know how bad the injuries or anything, but I never know when he's playing. I never know when he's hurt. I never know when he's on minutes restriction. It's impossible to, like, bet on the Clippers or watch the Clippers hoping that they win. And then even better than that is my boy Ben Simmons. I mean, Ben Simmons, like, this is like a case study in, like, sports psychology. What is going on? I mean, if you want to go further on, the Nets are the biggest dumpster fire of history. It's like, okay, so I have this, like, analogy that I've been thinking of. When things are crazy, like, even in chess, when the board is crazy, when position is crazy, sometimes it's just good to drink some water. Instead of taking shots of whiskey when things are crazy, or chugging beers or shotgunning beers or whatever, dude, just drink some water. So let me give you an application of this. The Nets fire Steve Nash. The Nets have Kyrie Irving suspended. And what are they going to do? They're trying to hire the coach of the Celtics who has, like, accusations about, we'll just say accusations about other stuff. Dude, when you are already on skates, hiring a coach with suspect character or with stuff in the background, this is not the direction to go. That is taking shots of whiskey. Buddy, you need to drink some water. Find a nice, good coach, someone stable, someone, like, nothing crazy. He's going to instill hard work. He's going to just keep it very straight edge. That's what you want in these positions. The Nets, every single season, are taking shots of whiskey. I mean, they're trading Harden for Simmons. They're getting Kyrie. Like, every year, it's like they have another big move that they're making, and none of it seems good. Another example of this is the Lakers. Like, back in the day, when Kobe Bryant was there, they got Dwight Howard. They got Steve Nash. Like, they're trying to put together these teams. Like, after... I keep going on tangents here. But after the Heat had Bosh, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade, everyone is trying to put together these super teams, and it's not working. If you look at that team, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James, all these guys were friends. They were already friends. They already had chemistry, and they were all young. They were good, and they were, like, just strong 2700s, if you want to put it in chess terms. Here, you're getting very suspect players. People past their prime, but still kind of good. I mean, you're like, I think the Nets had, like, LaMarcus Aldridge. They had all these big names, but no one that could produce. No young talent. If you want to flip this around, the Cavaliers right now are on fire. They have acquired a lot of young talent, solid players that are still getting better. And they all put them together. They all are, like, the same age, same kind of vibe. There are certain teams that understand that chemistry and fluidity are very important, and they do a good job to do that. And every year, they're going to be good or pretty good. Memphis is another team. Got a lot of good talent. Everyone flows, meshes together. They're all homies. They're doing really well. So that's my take on the NBA. NFL, you're seeing the torch getting passed. I mean, Aaron Rodgers never been this bad before. Shout out to Tom Brady. Just very necessary comeback. I'm just so happy he had that comeback against the Rams. He needed that. The organization needed that. Just so happy for him, especially when things are on fire, when life's in a hurricane. Things like that are what get you back on pace. Never underestimate one game, one day, one action. Sometimes in life, your life can go two different ways. If you can pull this out, it's almost like your life has a whole different trajectory. And if you don't, it's almost like your life goes in the opposite direction all the way. So never underestimate every opportunity you get, because you never know which one can really turn things around or really make an impact or really take you to the next level. I'm not going to go through like all the standings and stuff. Just like some overall kind of takes on NBA, NFL. So UFC, there's an amazing card. Amazing card. Let me just go through this card real quick, and that's how I will end it. So, to start things off, Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. This is a huge fight. This is a huge test for Adesanya. This is a fight that I think Adesanya can lose. It is possible. This Pereira guy has already knocked him out and is just a phenomenal striker. He knocked out Sean Strickland with a jab. That's insane. So this is going to be a very high technical fight. If Adesanya shoots for a takedown, I would laugh. I would understand too. And it's something that I can do. Like in chess, I used to be this guy who could only attack, who would only checkmate, who would only throw all his pieces at his opponent. And now, if I need to, I can take it to an endgame. I've grown as a chess player. If Adesanya does that, I understand. I'm not going to knock him for it. Pereira's weakness is his ground game. They're both good strikers. If you have an advantage on the ground, go for it. Take it. Or mix it, at least throw it in. Because now the hand's going to go a little bit lower if you're taking him down. So then you can go up high and get those lethal strikes. Carla Esparza versus Zhang Wei Li for the women's strawweight, I think is another great fight. Wei Li Zhang is so strong. There's literally a video of her picking up Francis Ngannou, who is like 260 and she's 110 pounds. And Carla Esparza is a legitimate wrestler. Now, is she a boring fighter? Kind of. It depends on what her opponent does. Wei Li Zhang is not going to just sit in the outside and try to pick her apart like Rose. This is going to be a real fight. Carla's going to try to take her down at least a little bit. I think Wei Li is going to be able to survive these takedowns. And dude, she can strike. Her last fight, she knocked out Joanna with a spinning back fist. She got hands, and I think this fight should be a lot better. Speaking of hands, the next fight, Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier. Dude, that's a banger for sure. Chandler going out there to die every time. He's not the most intelligent fighter, but he's definitely one of the most fun fighters to watch. And Poirier can strike. Poirier, maybe one of the best boxers. If Holloway the best boxer, why are we not talking about Dustin? Dustin outboxed Holloway back in Atlanta when they fought here. He's got power. He's got movement. So these guys are going to throw hands. This is just a fight that you're going to love to see. Everyone's got to see this. And MSG, Frankie Edgar versus Chris Gutierrez. This is Frankie's last fight. He's a hell of a fighter, hell of a chin, hell of a warrior. And unfortunately, I think he's going to go down this fight. It never looks good going into your last fight, especially when you're on the way out and you're fighting someone who's on the way up. It's almost like they're trying to transfer your fan base, your clout, to this next fighter. Gutierrez is a good striker, and his big strength is leg kicks. His leg kicks are nasty. Frankie's an older guy. I don't know how many of these leg kicks he's going to take. We saw this recently with Jonathan Martinez against Cub Swanson. Martinez beat those legs up. Maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 leg kicks, and Swanson just couldn't walk. So, the script's kind of out there. And I think Gutierrez and Martinez are teammates. So, if Gutierrez beats those legs, it's not looking good for Frankie. Also, Frankie's very hittable. Now, this man can survive hell and back, but at his age, I think you can only take so much punishment. Definitely I'm going to like Gutierrez there. The next fight is Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles. So Hooker is, first of all, always root for Dan Hooker because everyone likes hookers. Joke I heard from, I think, Cody Saftik. He's been on a downward trajectory recently. He's a good fighter. Everyone he's fought has been good. Michael Chandler, Islam, they haven't got him any slack. Everyone he's fought has been top of the food chain. He hasn't really lost to anyone bad, but the fights haven't been that competitive. Yeah, like Arnold Allen, another guy who Dan Hooker fought, who just beat Calvin Kattar. So now even Arnold Allen, everyone he's fought has or is challenging for a title. So it's been a rough run for him. And unfortunately, I think Claudio Puelles is got the potential to be one of the top of the division. This man has won 3 straight fights by knee bars, I think. So his ground game is insane. Now, will he be able to take Dan to the ground? I think that's the big question here. I wouldn't say his wrestling is that big, and Dan is not some guy who's going to take you down. He's going to try to strike, and I think he's got a lot of anger right now. Like, there was a video of him training with Adesanya, and dude, he was just teeing, like, they were doing some drill, and he was just teeing off and talking shit to Adesanya, completely, like, more or not as necessary as he needed to. So I think he's kind of got some anger, and he's going to try to take it out on this Claudio Puelles guy. If Claudio can survive, I don't think Claudio can match him on the feet. But if at all it goes to the ground, Dan Hooker is going to be sweating. Because this man, he's getting knee bars out of nowhere. And imagine what he can do outside of knee bars. Like, knee bars is a hard submission to catch. So I'm sure if it goes to the ground, he can pick his poison. And you saw what Islam did to Dan Hooker. He just tore him apart. No chance at all. Man, even the prelim is looking sick. Brad Riddell versus Ronald Moicano. Both these guys are good. Moicano just went through hell fighting RDA. 5 rounds of, like, man, this guy looked like he just went through, like, the Holocaust or something. Like, he walked out of there not looking good. I don't know if that was, like, an incentive joke. Sorry if it is. But, I mean, that was the best way to put it. Like, he looked like he had just seen death, and death was like, you know what? I'll give you another chance. Now, Brad Riddell is a very good striker. I would think Moicano's path to victory would be to take him down. Brad Riddell, I think he has a good get-up game. He fought this guy, maybe Jamie Malarkey, a couple fights ago, who has a very good takedown game, and I think he did a good job getting up. But Moicano has sick jiu-jitsu, and he has good hands. So I think this fight will be fun. Next one, Dominic Reyes versus Ryan Spann. I mean, someone's getting knocked out this fight. Dominic Reyes has been pretty upset about not being in the main card. And he's kind of got that John Jones curse going. After almost beating John Jones, he's dropped, I think, 3 in a row, all by knockout, all by, like, brutal knockouts, too. Like, the Jan one was tough. The Yuri one was hellacious. And Spann is a guy who's going to throw. Now, if you can survive, like, Spann also is the kind of guy who you can knock out, too. So this is, I think, a good chance for Dominic to get back on track. But he cannot take this lightly. If he takes this lightly, Spann is going to send him to the Shadow Realm. So he's got to be very, very careful about this upcoming fight. Blanchfield versus Molly McCann. I don't have much to say about this. I mean, Molly's the hype train right now. Molly is, like, she gets another spinning elbow finish. I mean, if there's a prop on spinning elbow finish, I would go for that. It's going to be like plus 2,000, and she's gotten 2 in a row, and she's looking for it now. Now it's her favorite go-to. So, I mean, I would go for Molly, but I'm not going to go, like, I would maybe bet the over. Actually, maybe bet the under. It's going to be, it should be, like, plus 200. So, if you want to have fun, I would bet the under. But as far as fighters go, I mean, maybe Molly. I think Molly's going to be more aggressive. Aaron's going to be on the back foot. And, I mean, if she can outpoint her, if she can survive, then Aaron could win a decision. But that's kind of all I see about that. Petrovsky versus Wellington Turman. I think this will be a good jiu-jitsu fight. Petrovsky I don't know much about. Wellington Turman, I think, at some point was one of the worst fighters in the UFC, but he's kind of turned it around. He's had 2, I think, pretty solid fights, pretty solid showings recently. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but he's also very, very hittable. This guy who got cut from the UFC, who never knocks anyone out, knocked him to the Shadow Realm, like eyes wide open, like laying back. And Petrovsky, I think, just subbed this one guy. But this fight I don't know too much about. I'm not looking too forward to that. As far as early prelims go, Frevola versus Otman Azatar, I have some interest because Azatar's brother is a gangster. Oh, no. I think Otman Azatar is the man. It's either him or his brother. Dude, these guys throw from hell. I think they're Moroccan. I think it says German here, but that one could be really like that one. I once watched him fight this one guy, and within the first 5 seconds, you knew the fight wasn't going past 30 seconds. Like, he just came out and just threw hella hooks. And Frevola is definitely hittable. Frevola he's got to be ready to go to war with this guy. Actually, okay, there is another good fight in the early prelims. Mike Trezano versus Choi Seung-woo. Choi Seung-woo can throw. He's a really fun fighter. I would say his weakness is kind of jiu-jitsu. he fought this guy Alex Caceres, and he was teeing him up. He was hurting him, but Caceres is really, really just a tricky, sneaky, slick fighter. He got hurt, took his back, and then subbed him. Trizano is not like that on the ground. Trizano is going to walk forward. So you're going to see Trizano walking forward and walking him down, and Choi kind of throwing. So I think that'll be a very interesting fight. I mean, as far as betting goes, I wouldn't bet on it because I think over is more likely. But, I mean, Choi hits so hard that he could definitely knock out Mike Trizano. Montel Jackson. I mean, actually, the beginning isn't that bad. The beginning of this card is good. The early prelims, you kind of hit this little lull for a sec, and then it's time to go. Montel Jackson, Julio Arce. That's gonna be a banger. Montel can throw. Montel is good. Julio's I think is solid too. Actually, Julio might be kind of a can. I'm not gonna say a can, but this might be kind of a setup fight for Montel Jackson. He's been on a very upward trajectory. I mean, this guy hits like I think his like Quicksilver is his nickname or something. Like he hits so fast. He dropped this one guy, JP Buys, I think twice or three times. Yeah, so it's Montel Quick Jackson, and man, this guy can strike so fast. So that one's gonna be fun. And even the first fight of the card, Carlos Ulberg versus Nikolai Negumereanu. Carlos Ulberg is another city kickboxing guy. He's a teammate of Adesanya. He's got good striking, but he's very chinny, and Nikola is going to come and going to try to knock him out. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ulberg is a huge favorite because he's more famous. He has a bigger camp, a bigger team, but he's definitely hittable. And he fought this guy called his nickname was a water buffalo, and he's just destroying this guy. Couldn't knock him out, but every time this guy threw, it almost was like if he hit Ulberg would have gone down. Nikola is going to be a much, much better striker. And if he hits him, I'm very curious to see if Ulberg can take it. If the under is 1.5, if the under is 2.5, I'd smash it. If it's 1.5, I don't know. But I just don't think this fight is going to go the distance unless these guys are both very scared. But Nikola doesn't give up that vibe. He's going to be throwing with killing intentions. So, I mean, the card this weekend, one of the greatest cards I've seen in a while. Really, really looking forward to it. It's also at Madison Square Garden, which always means that people are going to be hyped. People are going to be having a good time. People are going to be trying to put on a show. So, super looking forward to this card. And I think that's it for the podcast. Maybe for a solo podcast, I might have done one solo before. It was fun. Got a lot of talked a lot of stuff. A lot of different things. So, hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, please comment or message on Instagram, Aaron, DAARON.3. This week I'll be doing stand-up. I'll be training chess. I will hopefully be streaming every day this week, or at least 3 times this week. I should be boxing come Wednesday and Friday. I'll spar. I'm going to start Jiu Jitsu this week. So a lot of things to do. And lastly, I will be putting out a podcast every Monday, hopefully. Not even hopefully, for sure. It's guaranteed. Rest in peace, Takeoff. God bless the Migos. Happy birthday, Olu. And I will see you guys later. Hope you guys were entertained. Peace.